The world seemed to stop for a second. Paparazzi cameras clicked in rapid bursts, phones live-streamed to millions across the globe, and the air was thick with an electric anticipation no one could quite explain. Standing before a backdrop decorated with golden calligraphy and minimalistic elegance, Wang Yibo stepped up to the microphone. Dressed in a sleek, deep navy blazer over a crisp white shirt, his face held that calm, mysterious stoicism fans had come to adore, but something was different this time. His eyes had a gleam, an emotion so raw, it silenced even the rowdiest journalists. After months, no years, of swirling rumors, cryptic posts, secret glances, and emotional performances that left fans gasping, Wang Yibo was finally going to speak. And it was about Xiao Zhan. Whispers in the wind, the romance that wouldn't die. Speculation about their relationship began years ago when they starred in The Untamed, and the chemistry they exuded on screen was too intense, too real to ignore. Off-screen, their subtle interactions, Wang Yibo's occasional shy glances, Xiao Zhan's laughter at the other's dry wit, the accidental touches that lingered a bit too long, fueled a fandom wildfire. Social media exploded every time they were seen together. Whether it was an accidental airport encounter, a coincidental appearance at the same fashion event, or a supposedly leaked voice note where Yibo whispered, "Don't leave yet," fans were obsessed. But both stars remained notoriously private. Neither confirmed nor denied. The mystery became a story of its own. Until today. "I owe you the truth," the confession that shook a nation. Yibo took a deep breath, his hands momentarily trembling. Then, in a voice as soft as falling snow but clear enough to slice through the tension, he said, "For a long time, I thought silence was protection. I thought if I said nothing, we'd be safe. But I was wrong. You all deserve the truth." Gasps. Audible. Live chat feeds blew up in every language possible. He paused again, then smiled faintly. "Xiao Zhan and I are not just rumors." Journalists dropped their pens. One female reporter literally burst into tears. Online, the hashtag Wang Yibo Xiao Zhan confirmed reached 12 million mentions in 47 minutes. But Yibo wasn't done. The hidden years, what really happened behind the scenes. He began to recount a story that felt like it had been lifted straight from a film. "We became friends during The Untamed. And I don't mean casual, let's grab coffee friends. I mean we connected, instantly, deeply. At first, it scared both of us. It was unspoken, that bond, but it was there in every scene we shot, every glance, every shared silence." He revealed the midnight phone calls, the impromptu motorcycle rides around Beijing, and even the anonymous poetry blog they kept together, where one wrote and the other responded, their words drenched in longing. Then came the heartbreaking twist. When the rumors exploded, we were told to stay apart. Management teams threatened contracts. Brands pulled back. And for a while, we did what they asked. We kept our distance. But every time we saw each other on stage or backstage, it was like gravity. We couldn't pretend. Secret meetings, a stolen moment in Paris, and the necklace that said it all. One of the most shocking revelations was about a private moment in Paris, during a fashion event in 2023. Yibo shared, "We met on a bridge, around 2 a.m. No cameras, no fans. Just us. He handed me a necklace with a tiny star. I didn't understand at first, but he said, 'It's because when things get dark, you're still the light.' I've worn it ever since. Even now." Fans zoomed in on past photos. Sure enough, a small star necklace had made appearances tucked under his shirts for over a year. He smiled, brushing a hand over his chest. "I think some of you noticed. You always do." Xiao Zhan's surprise appearance. "Let me say my part." Just when the press conference felt like it couldn't get more intense, a shadow moved backstage. Whispers. Heads turning. And then, wearing a simple gray hoodie, minimal makeup, and a soft, unreadable expression, he stepped next to Yibo and stood silently for a few moments before taking the second microphone. "I didn't plan to come. But I couldn't let him do this alone." He turned to Yibo. "You've carried this for both of us. It's time I spoke too." The crowd erupted in applause, even as tears streamed down fans' faces. "I was scared of losing him more than the world," Xiao Zhan speaks. Xiao Zhan admitted the fear that kept him quiet. "I've always been scared. Of losing fans, respect, even my career. But mostly, I was scared of losing him. He explained that despite the backlash, the cruel gossip, and the sleepless nights, what kept him going was the belief that one day, they'd tell their truth. He's not just someone I admire. He's the reason I smile on days when I have nothing left. The reason I write music again. The reason I dream. Then came the moment that would dominate headlines for decades. Yibo stepped closer. Xiao Zhan hesitated, but Yibo gently took his hand, their fingers lacing together like a lock clicking into place. "We've hidden too long," Yibo said, his voice steady now. "This is us." Flashbulbs. Screams. And somewhere, in that sea of people and headlines, the two men simply stood, finally, unapologetically, together star. Within hours, major news outlets in China, Korea, and globally reported the story. Several fan accounts shut down from emotional overload. Global celebrities including Angelababy, Lei Zhang, and even BTS's V liked or commented supportive messages. A giant LED screen in Shibuya, Tokyo, played a fan-edited montage of their moments with the words, "True love never hides." Management companies scrambled to release neutral statements, but the public had already chosen their side. In the final moments of the press event, Wang Yibo left the audience with one last message. "We're not perfect. We're not here to be anyone's ideal. But we are real. And sometimes, that's the bravest thing you can be." Xiao Jean looked at him with tears in his eyes, nodded, and added softly, "We didn't fall in love because the world wanted us to. We fell in love despite it." That evening, Xiao Zhan quietly released a new single on Weibo titled Gravity. Fans who listened were stunned. It was clearly about Yibo. The lyrics spoke of late-night motorcycle rides, burning letters, and a love that always found its way back. The final line, "You were the silence in my storm. Now, you're the song I'll never stop singing." The room was utterly still, just a single moment suspended in time. Wang Yibo's words, "Xiao Zhan and I," are not just rumors, hovered in the air like a thundercloud about to burst. And then, the unthinkable happened. From the corner of the press room, someone dropped a camera. The loud clatter shattered the silence, but no one even turned. Their eyes remained glued to the man on stage who had just flipped the entire entertainment industry upside down. Yibo stood tall, but his fingers subtly tightened around the edge of the podium. His other hand trembled, not with fear, but with freedom. And his voice, clearer now, braver. It started with friendship, then became something deeper, something sacred, something we protected like a fragile flame in a storm. The gasps grew louder. The air was electric. Yibo looked up, his gaze cutting through the crowd like lightning. "I didn't fall in love with a rumor. I fell in love with a person. With him." He paused, his eyes distant now, lost in a memory that suddenly pulled him back. "There was one night, one I never forgot." He shared a story fans had never heard before. It was after an awards ceremony in Shanghai 2 years ago. The crowd had cheered as both Yibo and Xiao Zhan stood side by side, smiling for the cameras. But the minute the lights dimmed, they disappeared backstage, separately. Until Yibo followed him to the rooftop. "I found him there, just standing at the edge, staring at the city lights. He looked so tired, so lonely. I walked up, didn't say a word, just stood next to him. And after a long silence, he whispered, 'Do you think we'll ever be able to just be us?'" Yibo's voice broke slightly. Not dramatically, but enough. "I didn't answer then. I didn't know how. But now, yes. Yes, we can." As Yibo stepped back slightly, the press finally snapped out of its trance. Microphones were shoved forward, hands shot up, but no one was faster than the red-haired reporter from Modern Times Weekly. "Yibo," she cried, eyes wide with disbelief. "Are you saying you've been in a secret relationship with Xiao Zhan all this time?" He nodded once. Firm. Without hesitation. "We've lived in whispers, between shadows and headlines. It's time we stop." And just like that, the entire room exploded, not in anger, but in overwhelming emotion. Applause, stifled sobs, clapping that built like thunder. One journalist dropped her phone mid-live stream from sheer shock. Another clutched his chest and muttered, "Asterisk, this is history. We're watching history." Asterisk. As questions roared in, Wang Yibo reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a folded sheet of paper, worn, a bit frayed at the edges. "This is something I wrote a year ago. I never published it. I didn't dare. But it's time." He unfolded the paper and began to read. Asterisk, he speaks in silence and moves like moonlight. I loved him before I even realized I could. And if the world takes him from me tomorrow, I'll still carry his name like a prayer on my skin. Asterisk. The crowd went completely quiet again. No one dared to blink. That was never a song. That was just him. Yibo's story took a dark turn. There was a time he tried to walk away from it all, from me. He thought he was protecting me from the scrutiny. He left without a word. I searched for him all night. He described the desperate moments, driving through the rain in the early hours of morning, visiting Xiao Zhan's old haunts, calling his phone over and over with no reply. When I finally found him, he was sitting alone in his car outside an abandoned rehearsal studio. He wouldn't look at me. I just got in the car, soaked and shaking, and said, "I don't care what happens. You don't get to disappear." The audience was in tears. Online, fans were already editing this moment into dramatic TikTok videos and lyric videos. Thousands updated their bios with hashtag #YouDon'tGetToDisappear. Wang Yibo revealed that several of his recent songs, previously considered cryptic, were about Xiao Zhan. The ballad, Falling Leaves, was written after one of their worst fights. The upbeat, Chasing Wind, was his apology. Every time I stood on stage, no matter who I was performing for, my eyes would always search for him. And when I didn't see him, I sang to the space where he should have been. Just as he finished speaking, the screen behind him suddenly flickered to life, an unplanned move. A black-and-white video began to play. It showed backstage footage from the Untamed finale concert. Xiao Zhan, thinking the camera was off, walked up behind Yibo, whispered something in his ear, and hugged him from behind. Yibo's hand had instinctively reached back, covering Zhan's. The video cut before any words were heard. The crowd gasped. It wasn't a leak, it was a reveal. One that Yibo had allowed. "It wasn't just a show," he said softly. "It was never just a show." And then, as the room begged for more, as the live stream peaked at 67 million global views, Wang Yibo leaned into the mic with a calmness that came only after a storm. "I didn't come here today to shock anyone. I came to free myself." And then the words that sent shockwaves across fandoms, into forums, onto the front page of every major entertainment outlet in the world. "I love him. I always have. I always will." The screen faded to black. The live stream ended. But the story, the love, the truth, it had only just begun. Stay tuned to this channel for updates, exclusive breakdowns, and emotional reactions as the story unfolds. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because this miracle might just be real. Asterisk.